Hello, everybody. My name is Nat. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do DIY books. And here are some of the books that I've made prior. The last three books, I actually tried to film a video and I messed up so bad. My hands weren't even in the frame of the video, so you couldn't see what I was doing at all. So, this is me recreating that video. This is going to be everything that you need. So you're going to need paper of your choosing, paper. I would say thicker paper. Going to need some scissors that can cut, some glue that can glue, and something to measure. It doesn't you don't have to use it. I actually end up not using it. You need something to mark it down with, a pen, marker, pencil, and some yarn of your choosing. The first book is really simple. This is no gluing, no sewing. You are just cutting your paper, folding it how you want, and I will show you the rest. These are all of the things that you need: your paper, scissors, yarn, measure, and something to write down with. I sped this up because it is very simple. Take your paper and cut it to your choosing. All of these papers that I have are 12 by 12, so it's exactly just a perfect square. I'm just cutting them in half and making longer pages so that I have square booklets. It would probably benefit you using a ruler at this point in time to make sure everything is perfectly aligned, but I did not do that. That's why I showed you to use the ruler, but I told you I will not use it. So I folded all of those in half, and here I'm actually just organizing them. I wanted them to be in a pretty pattern because I have a bunch of different blue papers. So that is that. And I'm going to be folding these in half. So very simple, just make sure the edges are lined up so it's all straight. Fold that in half, set it to the side, and do that. I think I have like 9 or 10 pages here, I'm not sure. I can't remember how many pages I have. That's also another thing. You don't have to have a certain amount of pages for any of these books. Um, the more pages you have, the more pages you have. You know? So it just depends on what you want to use these books for. I use them for everything: journaling, recipes, gardening tips, things like that. Anything, really. So once those are all folded, you fold them all within each other. And here you do not have to do this. I just do this because I like it to be smooth. But I'm cutting off just all of those jagged edges that didn't really line up. Maybe I cut my paper a little uneven because I didn't use my ruler like I told you to. But here, that is exactly what I'm doing. Once you have that all placed within each other, you're going to find your yarn. You're going to cut it to where it can wrap around the book at least 3 or 4 times. I would say maybe 4 or 5 just to be safer. Make sure all of your pages are lined up. Once you wrap it around once, go ahead and tie it at one end. And here I did a little bow, like just a regular like shoelace tie with it. Because later I'm going to use it as just like a little hook to be able to grab it with. So once you tie that, I double knot it, cut that little excess string off, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this around the spine of the book. So that's where you do it about 3, 4, maybe 5 times. Just make sure that it's all keeping everything secured. And you're going to tie it around the bow that we created. Once that is all done, you can cut off that excess string. And there is your first book. Very, very, very simple. No gluing, no sewing, just folding and grabbing some yarn. You do not have to use yarn. You can use ribbon, shoelace, anything that is sturdy enough, thick enough to be able to tie it around and it won't rip. So I am grabbing another long piece of yarn and I'm just using this to close the book. So I'm folding it in half and I'm looping it through the spine of the book that we made and just wrapping that around. Very simple. I'm just folding it underneath and just using it as a little, you know, thingy. I can't think of words right now. And there is your first very simple, easy book all done. You can use that to hook around your finger and just, walk around with it. Or you can put it on a keychain. If you made a smaller book, you can put it in your purse, whatever. So you can make any size that you'd like. And yeah, we are all done with that one. Alrighty, this next book is going to involve gluing. So you will need your paper, your scissors, something to mark down, and your yarn and a measure, tape, measure stick, something, and your glue. If you watch the first one, all of these pages are exactly 12 by 12, so I'm just cutting them in half and showing you. So all of these booklets are going to be perfect little squares. So I'm just cutting all of these pages in half and lining them up how I want the pattern to be. So you do not have to do this if you have just plain paper, but I have colorful decorative paper here. Again, with the first one, I'm just going to be folding these all in half. It is a very similar step to the first one. So fold them all in half, put them to the side, and you're going to put them all within each other, however pattern you would like. Here I'm just showing how I fold them all within each other. I kind of did it a little off-centered, so I apologize for that. But once that is done, again, just like the first one, I'm just a little nitpicky and I am cutting off the ends because I like it to be even when I flip through the pages. You do not have to do this step. Once that is all done, we are going to treat this just like the first booklet. So these two pages that I folded and I'm setting to the side, I'm going to use that as the first cover. We grab our yarn and we're going to tie it in the middle just to keep all of those pages aligned. Hopefully my scissors will work. So open the book, make sure all of the pages are flat, make sure you have all the pages where you want them to be too. So I set aside those two pages and you'll see why when I get to it in a little bit. So we're just going to fold that string around the middle, tie it at one end, and you don't have to do a loop if you do not want to. You can though. For now, I'm just tying it to show you what it looks like because we're going to try to make the string disappear. And I just double knotted it, cut the little excess string off, and I'm going to tie it around, wrap it maybe 3-4 times. And with this, I'm just going to wrap it back around so I looped it through that string that we just wrapped and just tie it maybe two times. 2 times is fine. You could do 3 if you wanted. Cut that excess string off and you are all good to go for this. So here's where the gluing takes place. Once this book is all tied up, don't let your glue fly away. You're going to glue down a page onto both the front and back of the booklet that you've made. So just like this, you add that cover to the front. I'm just using simple Elmer's glue, paper glue. Then you glue it onto the back. And yeah, right here I messed up. I zoomed in so you can see. I did not properly push it all the way to the corner, and I was just zooming in to show you what it'll look like when you make a mistake like that. Because when you open the book, now it's gonna be a little like folded right there. So yeah, just make sure before you glue it that you push the string all the way to the center, and you can see I just noticed right there that I messed up. So yeah, it's okay. It's not like the end all. It's not gonna mess it up, but just look out for that. You know, I'm gluing down a second page because I want the outer cover, quote unquote, to be sturdy, and I'm just gluing it down like I did the first one. We also covered up that string so it quote, it looks a little bit better, you know? We also just covered up that string with using the pages, so it looks better. It looks like you have a little cover on there. I totally forgot to glue down the last page, so this is what I'm doing right here. I really hope this tutorial is working out for y'all. I am not good at explaining what I do. That's why I show with my hands, you know? Whatever. Here, I am not gluing this down. I know that's what it looked like, but I was just using the closed glue with the cap on to press down the glue even further because it's smooth. So, I wasn't gluing anything. I realized it looked like that. I've also realized a lot of this probably can be cut out of the video, but I'm one of those people that if I'm watching a DIY video, I kind of want to see the whole process, even if it was awkward or like it messed up a little bit. So the only parts that I truly cut out were parts where like I was off camera or something like that. So it is a long video and it is a long process, but I would rather you see the full thing, especially if I'm making something to show you how to make it. That way you can see exactly what I did, you know? This third book is going to involve sewing and gluing. You need your paper, your scissors, your yarn, your glue, measure, pen, and a needle. I would prefer you to have a needle that has a wider um thingy. I can't think of the word. I've been sewing my whole life and I don't know the terminology for these things. Anyway, I'm going to cut my paper in half just like I did with the first two. And I thought this paper was so pretty, this pink paper right on top, and I was like, "Yes, I'm going to be using this paper for something at least." So I'm cutting all this paper in half just like I did the other two. Pretty simple. These are going to be the pages, and the ones I put off to the side, I'm going to use as the cover. So I am folding all of these in half. I lined them up how I wanted, and these are not going to be folded within each other. They are all going to be flat on top of each other. So let me show you exactly what I mean. These pages are also going to be sewn together, and it is a tedious process. So that is why I saved it for last. I marked my pages, and I am now opening them and sewing. So when you sew, you're going to start at the top and you're going to weave your way down to the bottom and work your way up to the next page. Tie off a knot, cut off that excess string, and go ahead and poke the needle through the middle of the page once you have it through the first loop. Now go through the last loop and just make sure that you are not pulling any tangles and ripping the paper. I left this in because I wanted you to see how easy it is for the yarn to tangle up. And if you pull and you rip that paper through, you just lost a page. So just be careful with that. I'm just pulling it through carefully. And yeah. So now that that's done, I'm poking it back through, and I don't know why I was going for the middle. Poke it back through the top. You always want it to land at the ends of the pages. It helps me. I guess it can land in the middle for you, but grab your next page and you're going to start wherever that loop ended. Just start at the top. Pull your thread through, and you're going to loop it through the middle just like you did the first book. Make sure it's tied. Once you loop it through the middle, you're going to pull it through the last string that you just tied on the last page, and then tie that through. I zoomed in on it, so hopefully you could see. You could pause. Make sure you tie it tight, but not too tight to where it rips the paper. And here, you're just going to go back through the bottom loop. I had to make sure the page was sturdy enough so I didn't poke through something else. There you go. And also be careful poking your fingers. I poked my fingers multiple times doing this, and I'm surprised I didn't bleed on the paper. But blood, sweat, and tears, I guess, right? You're going to poke it back through the middle. And I'm just pulling all the string just to show you what it looks like. Okay. Now that it is through the middle, you're going to loop it back through the other page. And also, I zoomed in right there because I totally missed that part. So I'm going to show you later on how to fix that. And I don't even think I properly fixed it. So it was kind of disappointing going through the camera, and I was like, dang it, I totally messed this part up. I'm trying to do a tutorial and I'm messing up my own tutorial. You can easily fix it. Once the book is completed, you can just go back through with a piece of yarn and so just tie it together. It'll be fine. But yeah, I totally skipped a whole section. I tried keeping this in the middle of the camera, the frame, as best as I possibly could. Um, it was just so difficult because I can't see too well, so I have to put it up to my face to see it. But you are just looping through the next page, back through the yarn of the last page, through the next page, back through the yarn of the last page. Like, go back and forth, up and down. It is like tedious, and it definitely can be like, oh man, this is taking forever. The outcome, though, when you take your time and actually pull all the strings through and make sure everything's tight, it looks so good. And I'll show you at the end, obviously, you'll see the result, what it looks like when some of the pages are tied tighter, and you can tell I put a little more effort into making sure they looked better. And some of the pages that are looser, and what it looks like at the end of the book, the final result. It's okay. Obviously, these are your DIY books. I don't make these to sell these at all. I use these for everyday things like to-do lists, life, balances, work-life balance, whatever. Everything that I need to do, sketchbooks, whatever. So, I'm just speeding this up because I am just sewing it through all of the pages again. As you can see, I loop through the top, go through the middle, loop through, go through the bottom, loop through, go through the middle. Just going back and forth. And after a while, it starts to actually look like a book. This part took me so long though. I think before I sped it up, I believe this took me like at least 30 minutes. Just this part itself, like sewing all of these. I also don't have a like accessible table in this video, and I don't know why, because I do have a table inside that I could have used, but I guess I just like to struggle. I don't know. um so I'm going to use that for future videos, but here I'm on the floor and I'm bent over so my back hurts and it's hot outside. So I was like sweating and like slow, just like dehydrated. But I finally finished and it looks so cute. I'm tying it through the last loop just to tie that string off, and I'm cutting that string off. So there's the book that is sewed. It looks really good. You have more access to the space on your pages. See, that page right there, it looked really good, and the other pages are a little loose, but it's okay. We good. It's just a DIY booklet. Um, these pages that I made earlier, I cut those in half because I'm just going to be using them for the cover. So I'm gluing on top of this page, and I'm going to glue down the pretty pink paper that I picked out earlier for it, flatten that down, and I'm going to do that to the other side. Watch me struggle putting this paper on. All right, now that that's glued on, we're going to be gluing on the bind of the spine of the book. So, just taking some paper. I think I used I can't tell what paper I used right now. I can't remember. Okay, so I used one of the extra pieces of paper that I used from the pages. And I am just doing some trial and error. This is where you could measure it and just be precise and actually get the correct measuring for it, but I just wanted to fold it over and cut it. Don't know why. It does not have to be tight on the book. You can leave some space because all it is really is protecting the string and the bind of the book and just making it to where you can open it properly and the pages aren't going to slide around. So here I'm just making some pockets and some cards. I thought I totally miscalculated how big I wanted the pocket to be or how small, because I made those little postcards, like I'm cutting these in half now, and they ended up being too big for the pocket, so I have to cut them in half again anyway. Whatever. So that's why I said use the ruler, because if you really want things to be precise, use it. But also, sometimes I have an idea and I don't know exactly what I want, so I'm like, I would rather start off bigger and then cut it down than cut it small and not want that anymore. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Here, I'm just tying a little string. Actually, I'm sewing it into the back page and tying that off, just making a knot, maybe 3, 4 knots. Cut that string, and that way it doesn't fly off anywhere when you open your book. You have it attached to it all the time. There you go. And that is the third booklet. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and it actually helped you or showed you how to make a book. So, as you can see, they all look very similar on camera, and I'm going through, you can see the mistake right there. Um, but they feel different. The first book, you can tell that it feels cheaper, if that makes any sense. So, the more effort you put into something, the better it will feel. It will be more quality. But yeah, if you like this video, like it. And if you want to see more art stuff or craft stuff, subscribe. Make sure to hit that little bell notification so that you can see every time that I post something. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.